as an extension agent with the Oregon State University Extension Service, grant funding is imperative, not only for research programs, but also extension programs. So historically, extension agents have looked for grants in areas that they have experience in. They may have come out of a graduate program and are seeking funds in that specific area. But what really, these days, it's really focusing in on the stakeholders. What are community members wanting? What are the needs? So when starting, it's important to establish the needs. Conduct a needs assessment. Within Malheur County in southeastern Oregon, I combined the county judge, local, federal, and state agencies onto a board that we looked at what are the needs of Malheur County. So every main group of all the agricultural commodities within my appointment was represented by this needs assessment workforce. And once we identified the specific needs, we then went and we prioritized those needs. So what are we going to look at first, and how are we going to develop educational programs and research programs to meet those needs? So first and foremost, it was, what are folks wanting? We can use those needs and put them in a report, in a proposal to look for funding. So there is a nice streamlined process that really starts with the clientele, with our stakeholders, with elected local officials. What are those needs? And from there, the trajectory is endless.
So what I've found to be successful in terms of grant writing is target specific things that you know you can answer. That's the first most important thing. Choose something that you're familiar with, choose something that you're good at, and if you're passionate about it, the rest will follow. I think the successes I've had in grant writing have stemmed from the fact that I've worked on things that really interest me. I think the important thing is to find a problem that is a needs-assessed problem. You need to find something that is actually going to be worth something to somebody. So pick subjects that you've researched that others have told you they actually need it. One of the easiest ways to do that is to go to the grower organizations, and most of those will have lists of priorities, what they consider research priorities, and it's really easy to target those research priorities. Other ways to do it are to work with the quasi-government and government organizations, where they also have mandates in terms of what their most important problems are. And you can tailor your research projects to the number one priority, or preferably the number two. When you start getting lower on the list, you've got less chance of getting funded, so stick with the most important issues of the day. I think the important things that I've learned through my grant writing is, if you ever get an opportunity to do a grant writing workshop, I'd seize it with both hands, because that was what put me on the map, was learning exactly what the agencies are looking for. It's really important to understand A, the problem, and B, what they're looking for. And there's the RFP, the request for proposals, that spells it out in basic terms, but one of the key things that I would recommend is getting hold of the program administrator for that particular granting system. Drop them an email and ask if it's convenient for you to phone them at some time. Don't just cold call them, but certainly get hold of them through the email first and then follow up with a phone call. It's always important to understand their priorities as well as how they dovetail with the agency. And that's helped me over the years build a rapport with those funding agencies that I've worked with. And the most successful ones that I've found have been the competitive granting through state and federal EPA, DEQ, and the Oregon Department of Agriculture block grant systems.
So some of the important steps for being successful, the biggest one I can give is to read and follow the guidelines. So especially with federal opportunities, but also a lot of foundation and state agencies, they give very explicit guidelines on what exactly they want to see, page limitations, margins, fonts. They really give a lot of information. And I see this as kind of your first test, making sure you are smart enough to follow the instructions kind of gets you through the door. Define the roles and the expectations of your project team. So make sure everybody's on the same page and that they're going to be reliable to get you the information you need to complete a successful proposal. And get assistance with somebody who knows what they're doing when preparing your budget. So you want to make sure you have the right things budgeted, that they're allowable, and that they're reasonable. you really need to highlight the why. Why are you submitting this proposal? Why is it important? We know it's important to you because it's your life's work, but why is it important to everybody else, the broader public? And make that clear and easy to find. And make sure that you are able to define how you are measuring success in your proposal. So let us know how you can clearly show that you met the objectives in your grant, whether that's through an external evaluator, it's some conferences, it's some feedback, or it's very specific deliverables. Make sure that that's very clear. I'd like to tell our faculty that, you know, the peer reviewers are the same people as you. They're busy. They're teaching, they're advising, they're trying to run their existing research, and they've agreed to be on this panel. So they're flying over to DC. They're the first reviewers for 20 proposals, and of course they put them off until they get on the plane. And then they're reading them till late in the night. So what is it about your proposal that's going to excite them and keep them reading, especially if you're on the very bottom of their pile and it's 2 a.m. in the morning? Worst case scenario, but it's a good goal. Well, if you use some of the federal agencies, there's some great resources out there for you. Grants.gov is the most common one. Any federal agency has to post their funding opportunity to Grants.gov. They have some search functions, and you can save your searches and have them notify you when there are funding opportunities that fit your criteria. One that we have here at Oregon State University that we pay for specifically is grantforward.com. And you can go there and use your oregonstate.edu email address to sign up and also save searches and have them notify you. The good thing about grantforward.com is that it's not just federal opportunities. It's state, private, industry, anybody who wishes to can put their funding opportunities up there. Foundations are also a great resource for funding opportunities. If you find a foundation that you're not really sure if they're reputable, be sure to check with our OSU Foundations group, and they will help you through that process. And then ask your colleagues. So those that you work with frequently, where have they got their funding? And what do they recommend? Who should you talk to? Don't be afraid to contact the program managers at the federal agencies. They want to talk to you and they're happy to discuss your project. So there's several different types of fundings as well. So we've talked a lot about grants. Those tend to be federal. But there's also gifts. You can receive gifts from people that are interested in your research. We do have the Agriculture Research Foundation as well as the OSU Foundation that are able to help you collect and spend out your gift funding. There's cooperative agreements. So if you're working with some state agency or local offices with U.S. Forest Service or U.S. Fish and Wildlife, state agencies as well, Oregon Department of Agriculture, they have cooperative agreements where you share the research and they're able to funnel funds in through OSU to do so. Another option is contracts. So some of the Department of Defense funds come through contracts, but you can also do contracts with private entities as well. If there's an industry that wants to fund you, that's great. And we do have specialists here at OSU that can help you in that mechanism too. I think the biggest take home is be sure to reach out to me if you're interested. I'm happy to help you find funding opportunities, get those submitted, help you make connections. It's one of my favorite things I get to do here at OSU is talk to all of our faculty and see the really amazing research that we do here at Oregon State University.